What I'm basically gonna do is share you my experience of intermittent fasting for one whole year, or mostly 1 year. Yeah. So here's what happened. The first month, I lost like 30 pounds. I'm serious. It was like 30 pounds. Now, to be in all fairness, was it all fat? No. Was it all water? No. Was it a mix? That seems a lot more likely. So yeah. One of the things that shocked me the most about that first month is just how quickly it happened. Because it wasn't like I started and then like it took like 2 or 3 weeks and then on week number 4, then it chops off. Like no, like even within the first week, I still remember seeing the weight scale like drop at least 5 or 7. I was like, what? Like what's going on here? Now, in all fairness, this wasn't just intermittent fasting that I was doing this with. I was doing this intermittent fasting with a combination of walking and keto. Okay, so I've done fasting in the past when I was trying the vegan diet. And I've done some form of a fasting when I was just doing caloric restriction. But when I paired up fasting with the ketogenic diet, now that's when things that I've never seen before started to happen. So that's one thing. About 30 pounds chopped off the first month. I will say though, one thing that I saw right away pretty quickly was my aggressive levels. My pissed off, angry mode was flaring up hard. I mean, hard. I mean, it was to the point that I was pretty much convinced that I would not be dabbling, messing with, experimenting with certain parameters within fasting. Like for example, when I was mostly just intermittent fasting, there was a few times that I said, you know what, I'm going to try to go one entire day or just 2 days or something. And I still remember going one entire day when I was brand new to this. So basically I was kind of cold turkeying into like a whole day fast from no experience. Doing that, I'm going to tell you right now. So like cold turkey into like a one whole day fast or 2 or whatever, 2 or 3 days. As a beginner, it would induce this intense focus. I still remember driving down the highway and my focus being so strong that I could only focus on like one thing in front of me. Like if there was like a red car in front of me, all I could focus was on that red car. That was it. I couldn't focus on anything else. And that was what was somewhat scary. It's like, okay, so my focus is super intense. It's powerful, but it's so powerful that I can't focus on all the other cars around. I can't focus on all the other cars around me. And now because I can't focus on all the other cars around me, I'm concerned that what if the one car I'm not focusing that's around me is the one that takes me out after all this work. It only been a month, by the way. So it's not like, but anyway, that's besides the point. The point more being, I remember at one point telling myself, there's no way I'm doing a 2 to 3 day fast like that. I'm not going to be consistently doing that because every time, which at the time, it only been like 2 or 3 attempts at it. But at the time, I thought to myself, wait a minute, if I do this longer fasting, I'm going to get in a car accident. I'm going to stick to intermittent fasting. Anyways, so that's one thing that I experienced. Whenever I would do a longer fast, when I was primarily intermittent fasting, my focus would be really, really, really strong. In addition to being like pissed off. Another thing that I was experiencing. Now this one I think is kind of obvious. You may feel this if you've never fasted before and you start suddenly fasting. I would be fantasizing about food. Oh yes, I'd be fantasizing about food. Just like that. You ever seen like the movie with like white chicks? You know how like Terry Crews in the one scene where like he's in the car with like the one white chick. I don't know which one of the Wayans brothers it was. It was one of them. He's over here like looking at the white chick doing the old thing over here, and he's got like the tongue like he was doing some shit like that. It was like, and then the white chick is like, well, fantasizing my food kind of feels like I'm Terry Crews in that car at night, right outside of whatever that gala place was in that one movie. I don't know. That's besides the point. But fantasizing about food is something that I heavily was experiencing at first, especially when I was more intermittent fasting, cold turkey. Because here's the thing: when I first started, like my weight loss progress, I'm a cold turkey kind of a guy. I'm not recommending it per se, but I know that I'm not the only one that exists that thinks this way, and so I'm just please go about this at your own caution level. Listen to your body. All right. That's so I'm not saying, hey, let's go cold turkey. All no, 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 no. All right. But anyways, fantasizing my food. So this is what would happen, right? I still remember I'd be laying down in bed or whatever, and there'd be like a movie playing or something, and so I'd be laying down in bed. There's a movie playing. And then I would find myself just ever so casually. Check this out. Let's do a little role play here. Let me get the microphone out of this wooden spoon, or not spoon, the fork, or fork, or whatever. So I would find myself getting up out of bed, right? I'd be just laying down in bed doing nothing, just, over here, wasting a whole lot of time. Not in this place, some other place. Hold on. Actually, let me move this out the way. There you go. That's a little bit better. But I would get up, right? And then I would start like walking towards the fridge. So I'm over here walking towards the fridge, still thinking about the one thing that I'm watching. Mind you, I've set as a goal at the time, I'm not going to eat right at this moment. And I would just be walking to the fridge, literally not even thinking about it. I can't stress this enough. It was one of the most weirdest experiences to suddenly like be laying in bed. I get up, I'm walking towards the fridge, I'm opening the fridge, right? I'm opening the damn fridge. I'm reaching for the whatever the hell it was. I think at the time it may have been one of those body armor drinks or whatever the hell. And I'm grabbing the drink, right? And I'd be like on the verge, right? I'd be like one step away from actually like twisting the knob, and then it would hit me. I'm like, what am I doing? I literally set as a goal to like not consume anything right now. I would then, feeling really weird of what just happened, because it's like, wait a minute, did like Elon Musk just sneak in at night over here and like implant the chip? Is that what just happened? Am I being controlled right now by AI? Is it happening already? I don't know. And then I'd be like, okay, I don't know whether it is a chip that just got implanted in my head by some gremlins at night. But you know what? I'm going to put this right on back, because I set as a goal that I'm not going to be drinking or eating any stuff at this time. And I would close the fridge and I would go back to doing whatever the hell I was doing. So I'm going to go ahead and sit down here for my purposes, right? And then this would be the weirdest part. So the weirdest part would be that maybe 30 minutes later, right? Maybe 30 minutes later or something like that. Once again, autopilot. I'm telling you right now, I would just get up from the chair or bed or whatever I was doing, and I'd be just in the middle of just thinking, whatever, maybe just, solving world hunger off the top of my head. I would once again open up the fridge, literally not consciously thinking about it, right? Because it was such a pattern of behavior for me to just get up and just grab something from the fridge and just eat. It was so ingrained that I would literally find myself a half an hour later, 2 hours later, I go to the fridge, I'll be grabbing. All right, I'm going to grab something else this time. What we got here? Some strawberry, unsweetened, organic, cultured coconut, plant-based, and probiotic. Coco June, or however the hell you say this. But anyways, boom, I put it down on the table. I'd be on the verge of opening it, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? Am I on autopilot mode again? Yes, I am. All right, put this right back in the fridge. So I would open the door, put it back in the fridge, and close the door. And it's just one of the weirdest things that I came to observe about myself. It almost felt like me being a dog. Imagine that a dog becomes self-aware that it is a dog. Now, I just want to say one thing. I cannot read the mind of what a dog thinks, so I don't know. Maybe dogs are self-aware that they're dogs. Open to debate? What do you think? You let me know. But something tells me that, here's my guess, that dogs aren't self-aware that they're a dog. Or maybe they are, but I'm willing to bet a fish isn't self-aware it's a fish. I don't know, but what I'm trying to get at before we get too weird here is It's one of the weirdest things for me to basically go about business thinking that I am so rational, I am so in control of myself, only to find myself like out of habit going to the fridge, grabbing something on the verge of eating it, and then pausing. That was the hard part. I'm not gonna lie. It's that pause. Like, ooh, I became self-aware. I'm intermittent fasting. Put this shit away. All right, let's put it away. I put it away. So that's one thing that was happening a lot during I want to say the first month or two. By the third or fourth month, that started to actually wean off. But that first month or two, it was one of the weirdest things. Very eye-opening. Very eye-opening. So for the next one, I think this is going to be one that a lot of people probably aren't going to see coming. And I say that because in the fasting slash keto communities, maybe even carnivore, Atkins, whatever you want to call it, and these more low carby-ish communities, there's often this notion that what we eat, what is ate, is very satisfying and filling, and you don't feel hungry for X amount of hours, which I'm not going to lie. There is hella merit to that. Yes, there is. Like, I, feel fine. But as a complete beginner, this is what I felt. I'm going to tell you right now what I felt as a complete beginner. As a complete beginner, although I did feel satisfied after like eating the more fatty meals with all the, extra chia seed and all this stuff for digestion and all this stuff, right? Which makes you feel fuller because of the old pattern of behavior of overeating. That habit was still it was kind of trying to sabotage everything. I'm over here like, no, that's not going to happen. No. And then like the old habit, little brain pattern be kicking in like, no. Yeah, we're going to win. You going to stay fat, big, sad, and depressed. You ain't going to see your wee anytime soon. It was a battle. It is literally a battle against the self. It was a battle of like the mind versus what I know is going to help me. What's going to kill me versus what's going to help me in the long run. Now, I'm not going to lie, that wasn't as problematic as I thought. Because ultimately, if I did feel extra hungry still, I ended up just eating a little bit more of the very foods that I was eating anyways. And it's a little tricky. It's way harder to get fat off of eating like vegetables. It just is. But at least from a self-mastery, self-control perspective, me being able to say no and be fine, not just say no, like say no and be fine, that took a while. And I did not have that level of like, okay, I have that mastery down yet. That wasn't the case, at least definitely not the first month or two. Absolutely not. And then to piggyback off of that last part, having to make that conscious, deliberate effort to think of what I'm going to eat, think of what I'm going to cook, think of what I'm going to do, plan ahead of time, plan this, plan that. Despite things working, the weight was going down. Despite the fact that I was feeling fuller, despite all that, it's the very fact that I was having to put in more actual thinking effort that almost derailed me a few times. This is the truth. And it's once again, it's one of those crazy things. Like something could be working out very well, but the old habit just wants to kick in hard. Wants to just derail everything. And at that point, it really becomes a case of, okay, so you feel the temptation to act on an old habit. Cool. Do you act on it? How much does your future goal, your future self, what you're aspiring to, like how much does it really matter to you? And hearing that kind of question would have bothered me in the past, because in the past I would have said, no, we're not going to go there because it still matters to me. Even if I don't stick to my word, it still matters to me. Stop trying to invalidate me and blah, 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 blah. Regardless, if it really matters to you, you'll do it. Period. No matter how weird, how uncomfortable, it doesn't. And if you don't do it, even if you say that it still matters, here's the thing. Deep down, you know you don't believe it. And even if you somehow do in some weird, contradictory, paradoxical way, nobody else is going to believe you. That you ain't convincing anybody else that you actually care about the one goal you say that you're striving for if you fold on it, regardless of how much human we are. Maybe you kind of believe it in some magical way, but nobody else is going to believe that you actually do. Should it matter what anybody else is thinking? I don't know. That's debatable. But if you are the person that, is swayed by that, hey, maybe you could use that as motivation to, stick to that one goal you said you were going to stick to. And I'll tell you what, I'll throw in one last one as far as like my experience, like the first year of intermittent fasting. Weight scale. And when I say the weight scale, I'm talking about fear of the weight scale. And not so much like, hey, the weight scale is going to crawl up at night like chuck me on the side of the head or something. No, but it's more like I don't want to get on the weight scale because what if the number goes up? And then what if the number goes up? What do I do then? Or some weird thing along those lines, right? I look back at it, and it's so strange to think about. But as a beginner, I still remember. Like I literally still remember getting on the weight scale one day, and I'd be, I don't know, say 210 pounds, right? And then maybe the next day I'd be like 209.5 pounds. So somehow I'm half a pound less. Great. But then maybe the next day I'm 211. And the moment I would see something like that, a couple of things would happen. So for one, I would start to worry, like, oh my God, no, it's not working. Like all of the things I've heard about fasting, like some extra fat storage or something, like you're starving yourself to death. So this is it. Your body's like, it's trying to fight or flight its way back into whatever weight that you did have before because it thinks you're really going to die right now. It's like, and then like the second thing that would happen is I would then feel bad. I'd be like, I would think of the very last thing that I ate. And then start to feel like it was unearned or I should not have ate that or that was just too much, even though it was just vegetables with like a meat with a little bit of oil in there and maybe some cheese and maybe a little bit of butter. And when I say a little bit of butter and a little bit of meat, I wasn't kidding. I cold turkey intermittent fasting. So like the portion sizes that I'm eating right now, no, heck no. Not only did I start intermittent fasting and keto, but I wasn't like making portion sizes that were like, I don't know how to say this, sustainable in the long run. But because of daily weight fluctuations, I would look at that, I would see it, I would marinate in it, and then I didn't want to get on the weight scale. Granted, I still persevered and I still did what I had to do, but I was initially refraining from getting on the weight scale in the very same way that I was refraining from taking pictures of myself. In some ways, I began to like in some ways, I refrained from taking some pictures of myself, and this is such a paradoxical thing, but from the sense of, so like, what if this doesn't work and I fail? At least if I don't have the pictures, I won't feel as bad because now I don't have to look at my own failure. But then this one of the most problematic things that how do I say this? That is such a problematic way of thinking about it because the very act of me taking a picture should be the very reason that keeps me motivated to actually not want to fail. I was over here thinking about it in terms of let me not take a picture so that when I do fail, see, that's the irrational part right there. So that when I do fail, not that I was really thinking that consciously, it was more like a subconscious thing, right? So that when I do fail, now I don't got to be feeling shame about my failure. I look at it now and I'm like, well, I don't know why I was thinking that way, but when I put myself in those shoes, I can see why I thought that way. And one of the things about being in a quote darker place is that often you don't get there rationally. It's not like somebody is like, Einstein level calculating some parabola calculation as to how to get to that thing over there. It's usually like one thing that leads to another, like, maybe a divorce or maybe somebody's dog actually died or something, or a natural catastrophe, maybe something that hits, something that hits. So it's not ever like, it's not like, how do I say this? It's like when people judge a couple who divorces, right? Why'd you marry them? And it's like, wait a minute, hold on. Nobody that's marrying plans on divorcing. So, like, nobody that's fit or relatively healthy plans on picking up the weight. Nobody plans on it. It happens. Do I think that as it's happening, maybe it would be a good idea to have more self-responsibility along the way so that it doesn't happen? To begin with, you live and you learn. I don't know how else to say this. So it happens. So if you're watching this and you're there, I'm not judging you, despite whatever demeanor I may have, and I'm more jokey right now. I'm not judging you. I've been there. It's not a fun place to be. So yeah. But that's it. That's all I got for now. I am still in the middle of a extended fast right now, so I'm going to be breaking this current fast on Friday. So right now, I broke a 72 and I rolled straight into a 96. After that one, I'm going to roll straight into 120. And after that, I'm telling you, I'm going to keep going until I either hit a check engine light or I discovered that there's some other portal to this universe that I didn't know about. That's all I gotta say. So that's really it. I appreciate it. Hopefully this helped you out in some way, or I don't know, maybe not. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.